It's time to assess the Assassin's Creed cast. Let's go! What a great game. With so many twists and variables, this was a difficult game to navigate, and it was so entertaining to watch. Thank you to everyone involved, whether you helped make this game or came out to play or just came out to support it. This game was such a success, and I really can't thank enough to the people who came out who played from a long time ago. So let's start with JJ. JJ, this isn't your first rodeo, so you should know that you can't afford to be quiet in a game of Survivor. I know that you're the man of chaos. No one ever knows which way you're gonna go, but you're really the man of chaos when you don't talk to anybody. I'm so sorry that you had to drive 2 hours just to be the first voted out. Dingler, speaking of driving 2 hours to be the first voted out, you weren't the first voted out, but the second, for all the same reasons. And it's so strange. You played fantastic your first go around, so I don't know why you also chose to be such a quiet person during this game. Robbie, thank you so much for giving up your Saturday to come out and play Survivor. I know that you absolutely did not want to, and you did this as a huge favor to me in order to meet that quota of 7 brand new players. You never really wanted to try in the game because you didn't care about it, but you said if you made merge, then you would start to try. I think that if you did try, you would have gotten really far in the game, but I guess we'll never know. Peyton, once again, you chose the strategy of working with people that you call friends. How predictable. And nothing special there. Anyone can do that. I do believe that you entered this game with a new mindset of not wanting to be this goat that just listened to whatever his friend said, but you still listened to whatever Ronnie said. Sam, you are a very in-the-middle type of player. You're not the biggest threat out there, but you still are a threat. You quickly understood what the game of Survivor means. You adapted very well. I also like that you're the type of player that's not afraid of taking chances. There were a couple times in this game that you decided to roll the dice and make a risk. With that being said, though, those times that you decided to make your chances were a bit questionable, and it makes me wonder if you have the strategic prowess that I think that you do. I think you're the type of player that wants to make a splash, so you'll throw like a rogue vote somewhere to try to get something accomplished, but in doing so, you don't have the numbers to vote that person out, so your one vote that could have saved you initially got you voted out. Ronnie, sometimes you just can't outrun the reputation, man. You're a fantastic player, you really understand this game, you're super likable, athletic, you're an all-encompassing, well-rounded player. I've always seen you as a future winner of Survivor. I'm a huge fan of yours. I think that you handle any twist very well. You don't necessarily focus on the twists, and you keep the relationship aspect to the forefront, which is so important in a social game. Thomas, the champion of finding things, fire tokens, advantages, idols, whatever it was, you found it all, man, and then you told everyone about it. Loose lips sink ships, and that's what you did. You sunk your own ship. I think even though you had all of these advantages, you didn't know what to do with them. And that's okay, because it's your first time playing Survivor. One thing that you're not supposed to do is tell a lot of people about it, because it's going to get around really fast. And then they're going to want to vote you out, and then probably take your stuff. And I think that you know that now. But you would be surprised. I could talk till I'm blue in the face and tell you over and over again, don't tell people about the stuff that you have, and people will continually do it. I cannot stress how important it is that you should only tell people about the stuff that you have when it benefits you. Not to brag, not to just tell people, do it for some sort of reason. Ryan, it's always a joy to get to watch you play, and I know that you've told me once upon a time that you'll never do it again, and I'm so grateful and thankful that you decided to give us a second chance. The truth is, whether you like it or not, you are a natural at these types of games. You are trustworthy, social, easy to get along with, and athletic. But my favorite thing about you is your strategic mind. You understand how this type of game works. You understand the concept of the advantages that you find, and you know how to use them very well. And you keep your mouth shut about them. I love that part. It's really difficult to come up with a flaw in your game. I think that you're extremely great at laying low when you need to get further into the game. You made it halfway, and you came in second place last time. You should be very proud. Melissa, your game was almost polar opposite as it was the last time that you played, and it really showed depth to your understanding of what Survivor is and how great of a Survivor player that you are. You found a +1 and stuck it out to the final 6. You really sort of stuck into the background this game and didn't rock the boat at all, whereas in Season 5, you were very aggressive and in your face, going against the majority alliance, having to win immunity challenges. And here, you lied low. So it really showed that you can do the best of both worlds here. I think that your fatal flaw is that you don't necessarily look too far into the future of what comes next. And you didn't see that you and Abby were pitted into this tight corner into the final 6. Getting rid of Ryan at 7 really hindered your game. And it made me question if you looked beyond that. What happens when I vote out Ryan? And why didn't you try to team up with Ryan and Allie? And that's a bunch of questions that I don't have the answers to that I'm sure exist out there in the universe. But the point is, whenever you make a vote, you have to ask yourself, what are the ramifications of this vote? After this person leaves, what is left? What is the dynamics in the game? And I think if you sort of relay every possibility, if you said, okay, if Ryan goes here, this is what it's going to look like. If Allie goes here, this is what it's going to look like. If Tyler goes here, this is what it's going to look like. And then by going through all the scenarios, you make the decision that is best for your game and think ahead in that way. I think that it would really help you out. Abby, this is definitely your best performance in a Survivor game. What a 360 from Season 5. I think that you listened to some advice and took it to heart and really utilized it. You played much closer to the chest. You had your agenda more secret this time around, and in doing so, it might have freaked players out because they didn't know where you were coming from. However, because you weren't this open book, you were able to make your plan execute in a low-key way. You're also really good at putting yourself in other players' shoes and thinking about what they are thinking about. I thought it was hilarious whenever you found the idol and Thomas seen you and immediately told everyone, and that look of panic on your face like, oh man, this is happening again. Everyone's about to vote me out just because I found the idol. You should be very proud of your performance. You were seconds away from winning the Final 4 Immunity Challenge, and had you won that and got a spot into the Final 3, there's no telling what would have happened. You might have been our winner. I really also would love to brag on Allie, Ryan, Melissa, and Abby, because you guys are so competitive. You don't take no for an answer. You make your own decisions, and you guys are some of the best players that we've had in Durant, let alone female players. And there are so many games all over this country that wish that they had the type of female players that we do. Abby, I also really liked how you played a very in-the-middle type of game. You were never necessarily the biggest threat, and that helped you squeak on by and go unnoticed. However, it didn't pan out to the end. Your biggest flaw in this game was being too naive. You counted on relationships that you had outside of this game to pull you forward when they were non-existent in this game. You never once really worked with Thomas or Ethan, but you counted on them in this game because you're friends with them outside of it. And they were the ones that screwed you over the most. Allie! You are fun, exciting, and unpredictable to watch. And I also think that that is your downside. Your eccentric and unpredictable personality can sometimes catch people off guard in a negative way. People have shown that they don't like unpredictability. Also, you can't be controlled. You're going to play your own game and make your own moves. You're almost like a female mob boss, and people will try to control you, but they don't like the fact that they can't. I think one of your bigger flaws is that you might tell too many fibs. And when a person fibs constantly in a game about trust, they tend to not trust anything that they say. And also, it will give away your tell. Everyone has a tell of when they're telling a lie, there's some sort of sign, body language that they give off. And when you lie constantly, people are going to pick up on that tell. But you are so unpredictable and fun to watch. You are always a playmaker, trying to make moves happen. I would like to see you sit on your hands a little bit more to just play this sort of quieter game to keep you out of trouble. And maybe control things from behind the scenes instead of being on the center stage. Gabe! You are a Survivor natural, and it's so crazy with how little experience you have in Survivor, how well you did. And I think it really benefited you because of your personality. You were that good old boy that everyone couldn't help but trust and share everything with. And you took that information and you carved your path to the end. And you really were the one person that had the most influence in the direction that this season went. You won immunity challenges. You had people give you idols. You were clever enough to vote them out to keep the idols. So you've shown that you're not just this honest player. You will play by the rules, and the rules include backstabbing. I think your biggest flaw was you just played too good of a game and everyone's seen it. Tyler definitely noticed at the end that if he took you, it was career suicide. And kudos for you for playing such a great game. But at the end of the game, if everyone notices that you're this great player, are you really a great player because everyone has noticed it? And unfortunately for you, the only person that noticed it was Tyler in the fourth quarter, and that was enough to do you in. I would like to see you improve your Survivor knowledge by watching more Survivor and understanding more strategy. I think you could easily be outthought and manipulated because there are tricks out there that you might not be aware of. But other than that, you did a great job. I think that if you were to play Survivor again with a group of strangers, you'll do wonderful because of this honest vibe that you give off. Ethan, you didn't even know what you was signing up for, man. Thank you so much for coming out and making this a reality, for being a last-minute fill-in. I hope that you had a great time. You did very well socially because people would come up to you. They really trusted you. And I think that your key strategy that you were so successful in was listening. And sometimes people just want to feel like they're in control, that if they speak the most, they're in control. And so you would listen to them to give them that sensation. And ultimately would make your own decision, which usually was just going with the boys, going with Gabe and Tyler. I would have liked to seen more strategy from your side. Like, why did you go with Gabe and Tyler? What is your path to the end to win? Because I think that you were in the most open position of this game. You could have gone anywhere that you wanted to. You could have, at any time, switched to Allie's side, switched to Abby's side, and faced little to no repercussion because of it. So your question in the top 6 should have been, who do I want to sit with in the end, and who do I think I could beat? Because if you are loyal to just be loyal beyond the top 6, then you're not really even playing. You're just being a good friend. And are they your friend? Or are they just using you? By the looks of things, it looks like Gabe and Tyler were just using you. And that brings us to the winner. Tyler, your biggest move in the game was never ruling out anyone as the next vote. We've seen this early on with the Peyton vote, when he wouldn't budge to get rid of Ronnie. You initially tried to work with him, but then just as quickly flipped to get him out. And then in the late game, you recognized Gabe as the biggest threat to win, and you did the hardest thing to do, although it probably wasn't as hard for you as it would have been for anyone else. And ironically, Gabe was also the instrument that was the biggest benefactor to your success. Because while you succeeded in manipulating a lot of people throughout the game, you also shown that you were a comp beast, and that you had some sort of clear understanding of how to play Survivor and the basic strategy that comes along with it, socially, you get an F. And at times, a lot of the time, you really relied on Gabe to bail you out. This obviously can be shown and proven through the voting confidentials, but also, if you take Gabe out of the equation throughout the merge portion of the game, you are infinitely screwed. Because you were already targeted a lot. Almost every tribal council, you got at least one vote thrown your way. There were so many lies that you were caught in, or that people suspected you of lying in some sort of aspect. Plus, you lost your temper with Allie once or twice. And a social game where the connections that you make absolutely matter. Now's not the time or place to have a blow up. With that being said though, you did have to fight to stay alive quite frequently, and quite frequently you succeeded. And maybe that was a part of your strategy, to play this really horrible social game, so that way people would keep you in it and you would be more appealing to take to the end. If you were to play a game again with strangers and they were casual Survivor fans, I doubt that they would throw the game in any sort of way. So I think playing again and winning again would be extremely difficult for you. You said that you wanted to play like your idol, Russell Hantz, and I think that you really emulated him very well. But it was Boston Rob, perhaps the most infamous Survivor player of all time, who really understands the game to its core, that once said to Russell Hantz, "You play the game to get to the end. I play the game to win. And in order to win, you have to have the respect in some way from the jury." So I think that if you were to go into a game with that thought process, I can't be too crazy with these guys because they have to vote for me to win. They have to want to give their vote to me. You have to actually care about these people. Then I think you could do quite well. So it's for all these reasons that I rank you as the 5th best player in all of Survivor Durant. Thank you so much for listening, and look forward to one last final review as we go over Twist of Fate's cast here in December.